And welcome to Nostalgia Alley. We have a fantastic show, standing room only in this show. We have Dream Catcher, and representing Dream Catcher, we have Laura Ekstrand. And Laura has a fabulous, I mean, I'd be here all day if I did your bio, but co-founder of Dream Catchers, which we'll go into shortly. She has a improvisational group. She's connected with the theater. I'm sure you've seen her in Sex and the City, Law and Order, Guiding Light. I love soap operas. And she's been doing this at Dream Catcher since 1994. Does it seem that long? It's pretty incredible. Mm-hmm. And we also have, if Laura isn't enough, we have Dan Carisi, who is an accomplished piano player. I'm always amazed you can find those 88 keys and make a song. It's just amazing. Dan is a pianist and a composer, performed in New Jersey since 1984, has performed in Birdland, which is a real honor. It's like to gain the Academy Award to be appearing in Birdland, Shanghai Jazz, trumpets all over the place. He is a recording artist, has 2 fabulous CDs, Home Again, and another one called Asked and Answered too. Yeah. And if you could pronounce that, you get a free CD. But anyway, I'm excited to have you on Dream Catcher. It's a dream of a show, I'm sure. How did Dream Catcher start? And tell us a little bit about Dream Catcher.
Sure. Dream Catcher started, it was an idea that I had with a friend of mine. We went to Elizabeth High School together in New Jersey. And we both went to different colleges and were theater majors. And a couple years later, we were talking at the Five Brothers Diner on Route 46.
The old Five Brothers. Great ideas at the Five Brothers.
Yeah. we were saying that we were doing a lot of theater in New York, and we were saying, why don't we try producing our own show? So we did. We did one show, and it did so well that we said, let's see where this goes. So then we expanded the idea a little more to do a summer of shows, and from there, you know, it just kind of snowballed, and here we are 25 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dan, how did you find your way to Dream Catchers?
Well, Laura contacted me. I've known Laura for a little while. My wife, Ginny, has known Laura for a while. Actually, I don't remember exactly when we met. It might have been a music together class, actually.
I think that's when we met, yeah.
So it all started in school, right?
Yeah,
well, yeah. I brought my baby to Dan's music together class. He was the teacher.
Right. I was teaching the music together, sitting on the floor with the kids and their parents. And yeah, Laura came in with Zachary, who now is a much bigger boy. But
yes.
I think that's where I met her, and we got talking. And I think she's known my wife, Ginny, who's works for the group called the Discovery Orchestra, and so we had, I think at one point in the past she had reached out about playing a cabaret, and I wasn't able to do it, but then this last time she reached out, I was, and it worked out nice. We had a lot of fun, played about 7 or 8 shows, and
yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Hoping to do it again next year.
Now, question I want to ask you, as an actor, being an actor, does that help you in singing? Does it help you put across a song? How does that affect you?
I think it's a great question, because I think people who come at singing as musicians sing the music, and I think people who come at it as an actor sing the lyrics. So I think that I perform songs as if they're monologues, and so yes, it does help me. And I think, you know, we do in the show that you saw us do, it was jazz standards, but I'm not a jazz singer. And none of the people who did the show were, but we all perform the songs as stories. So I think that's how what we do differs, I think.
I can see you guys work great together. You were at the Y, standing room only, loved the performance. That's how we got together. You appear, I think, in a lot of different venues through a grant, and you did the Y. You know, I think you do some senior stuff, because you're, when you perform a song from the seniors, how does that bring back memories? I know that's a very important thing when you sing a song. It brings back memories. It must be a very gratifying thing to be able to do that.
It is, because a lot of the songs we sing, remind the people who are listening of a very specific time in their life. Sometimes it's about their relationship they had with their spouse or someone else. And it really, it's evocative of a lot of different feelings for them and of specific times and places. So I find it really satisfying. And afterwards, a lot of the people will come up to us and talk to us about what it reminds them of. And so it's nice to feel that you're touching somebody and that is personally relevant to them.
You make them feel young again. I think that
That
really
would be
happens,
nice,
you know?
yes.
It really does.
Yes.
There's an interesting story involving music and what you do. My father, during the Second World War, was a lieutenant colonel, and he was in charge of a hospital in England. And a lot of times there would be soldiers who were paralyzed, you know, because of the shock of war. And there was this one soldier, and my father said, how am I going to get this guy to response? My father not only was a doctor, but he played the piano. He was very much into music. And he played a song on the piano. And all of a sudden, this totally paralyzed soldier started to react. He started to tap his feet, and then he started to tap his other feet. And all of a sudden, he became whole again, listening to the music. And it shows you the power of music.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we grow up with songs.
We grow up,
and,
right?
You know, we all have a soundtrack. You know, I think we remember the songs from our youth better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, songs I heard in high school, not just jazz stuff, but rock stuff, you know, pop stuff, all kinds of stuff. You know, that stuff sticks with you.
It does. It really does.
You know, it's harder for me to, you know, remember songs I hear today sometimes than stuff I heard, you know, over and over as a kid.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. You repeat it when you're young. You know, my sister and I would get
Yeah.
albums and we would listen
Right.
to them over and
Right,
over
that's
and
true.
over. So
I'd
yeah,
say-
I have memorized in a way that
Yeah.
music today, you know, I'll hear it in
I know.
passing, but
Now, Dan, you're familiar. You're with the church, right? You work with the church. I believe in your biography.
Yeah, I've played for various churches. Right now it's the Ignite United Methodist Church, which is the church where our family goes. And I'm kind of a part-time there. There's another pianist there who it's really been his position, but he works 1 or 2 times a month, and I fill in for him there. And I've also filled in at the Butler United Methodist Church, the Montville Church. So, and my wife and I, Ginny, we did, when our church was in Springfield, it's since moved to Kenilworth, but when it was in Springfield, we did the music together. We were the music ministers for 7 years. at that
Music for the
church.
soul. It's not soul music,
Yeah,
but it's
but-
music
yeah.
for the soul. It must be very gratifying.
Yeah.
And also, you have something you're doing which is very interesting because we have sort of a senior audience. Hopefully, we have the young people. But you have something, How to Be Old, a Beginner's Guide. That's very intriguing to me. Tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about that.
well, senior outreach is one of the many things that Dreamcatcher does, and we bring musical performances like the ones that we do, but we also bring specific dramatic performances. And we adapted 3 different books that Jan Slepian wrote, and Jan Slepian lived at Winchester Gardens for many, many years.
Oh, sure.
And before that in Summit. And she was a children's book writer who in her later years started writing about her own experience of getting old. And so she wrote these 3 different books, and they're all about the sensations and the changes that happen as you age. And she lived to be 93.
God bless her.
And yeah, and just died 2 years ago, I believe. So we were friends, and I was her adapter during those years, and we performed those plays and still do for seniors all over the state.
What's the most important thing in a beginner's guide to old age? What's the most important thing for a senior to keep young?
She has lots of great pieces of advice. One of the things she said is notice and appreciate. To take, because there's a lot of stuff that you lose and there's a lot of stuff to be sad about, but she always maintained that there's so much joy in every day if you take the time to appreciate it. So I think that's one of her big messages.
People don't have the time. They're on the cell phones, they're on the tablets. Nobody sits back and enjoys what's around them. We're in a digital age, which I think is absolutely terrible because you don't enjoy what's around you. You know,
Right.
it's just.
It's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, Dan, you're a very gifted pianist. As a young kid, did you have an interest in playing the piano? Was there something inside you that said, I just want to release my creativity? Or how did it come about?
Yeah, well, initially I started piano lessons around 7 years old, pretty much because we had a piano in the house, and my mom got us lessons. So in the beginning, it wasn't that I was crying out for lessons. But I did well at it.
Oh, good.
And then there came a point in high school when I started to get a little more serious about it. At that time, it was more classical music.
Right.
So I was playing classical music, and I even ended up going to college, well, initially as an accounting major, and then switching over to a classical music major, and then realizing, well, I didn't think that was for me either, the classical music, and then I dropped out of school for a while. But in the meantime, I ended up getting into jazz, getting some jazz piano lessons from a guy named Keith McDonald, and my interest from there, that's when I started to really just kind of concentrate more on learning how to play jazz, learning how to improvise.
Do you remember the first song you ever composed and when you did it?
The first song I ever composed, I actually don't.
You don't?
I wish I did. It would be a great story, but
How about the last? How about the
actually
most
don't.
recent one?
The most recent. Tell us about the most recent album you're doing.
well, the most recent song I wrote is actually a song called All of the Above, which is not the song I'm going to play later today.
Right.
But I got this idea from someone who answered, speaking of the digital age, someone who answered one of my Facebook posts, which was a multiple choice question. He answered it all of the above. And when I saw that, I said, that's a great song title. It made me think of the sky, the stars, the expansiveness
Covers a lot of territory,
of the
doesn't
universe.
it?
Yeah.
So I wrote an instrumental song about that called All of the Above. So that was the last one.
Wow, that's great to be able to do that, because I look at 88 keys on the keyboard. I go, how can you figure out which keys you press and which keys you don't? It's just amazing to me. I recently listened to a lot of Art Tatum, the great pianist, probably one of the greatest in the world.
Yeah.
I just love, and he played these tenths, and he was just so good on the keyboard. Do you have a favorite pianist that has influenced you in jazz piano?
Well, my favorite pianist has always been Keith Jarrett. Yeah, she was speaking about playing records over and over.
Right.
When I got one of his solo piano records, it's like a 3-album set, I just played that over and over and over, and he was really the favorite. I mean, there's others, Bill Evans is a favorite, and there's many others, but Keith Jarrett was always the one for me.
Great. We have 1 minute and 9 seconds. Laura, who influenced you the most in acting? Who was your idol, the person that you said, this is a great actor, I want to kind of get in there? And
Wow. Well, I mean, I hate to be a cliche, but Meryl Streep is one of my all-time favorites because she's so smart and she's so subtle and detailed in her performances that I feel like she, you can see that her acting is her whole body. It's her inside, her outside, and that she's aware of every moment of her performance, and I really admire that. And she's funny and smart, and I just enjoy her so much.
So important,
Yeah.
And acting is just a wonderful thing to do because you find out so much about yourself in acting.
Sure.
You really dig into your persona, and I took it many years ago, and it just helped me a hell of a lot, and just becoming the person I am today.
Right.
I'm not acting this time.
Oh, this is you.
This is me.
real. Okay.
Anyway, we're going to take a public service announcement. We're going to set up for a wonderful performance. You're going to do one of my favorite songs, Someone to Watch Over Me. And this is Mike saying, don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back from break, and we have Dan and Laura performing some really classic songs. Very happy to have them here. Standing room only. Dan and Laura, take it away.
There's a saying old says that love is blind. Still we're often told, seek and ye shall find. So I'm going to seek a certain lad I've had in mind. Looking everywhere, haven't found him yet. He's the big affair I cannot forget. Only man I'll ever think of with regret. I'd like to add his initial to my monogram. Tell me, where is the shepherd for this lost lamb? There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that he turns out to be someone to watch over me. I'm a little lamb who's lost in the wood. I know I could always be good to one who'll watch over me. Although he may not be the man some girls think of as handsome, to my heart he carries the key. Won't you tell him please to put on some speed, follow my lead? Oh, how I need someone to watch over me. Won't you tell him please to put on some speed, follow my lead? Oh, how I need someone to watch over me. Someone to watch over me. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to play a song that I wrote now. That's a fairly recent song. Actually the title came about at our dinner table at home because my son Nathan was laughing about something and my wife Ginny said, "Yeah, he's laughing with love." And we both looked at each other and said, "That's a great song title." So this is the song, Laughing with Love.
Dan and I thought we would take us out with one more tune. It's an old Duke Ellington tune from 1940 that got its lyrics after it was known as an instrumental piece. When I'm not playing solitaire, I take a book down from the shelf, and what with programs on the air, I keep pretty much to myself. Missed the Saturday dance, heard they crowded the floor, couldn't bear it without you, don't get around much anymore. Thought I'd visit the club, got as far as the door, they'd have asked me about you, don't get around much anymore. Darling, I guess my mind's more at ease, but nevertheless, why stir up memories? Been invited on dates, might have gone, but what for? Awfully different without you, don't get around much anymore. Darling, I guess my mind's more at ease, but nevertheless, why stir up memories? Been invited on dates, might have gone, but what for? Awfully different without you, don't get around much anymore. Awfully different without you, don't get around much anymore. Thank you, and thanks for having us on. Thank you.
Great. Play us out.
Okay, how long of a song do you want?
Just go.
Oh,
It's all you, Dan.
all right, we're going to try another new song that I just wrote. It's called Spring in My Step.
Great. to thank our guests, Laura Ekstrand and Dan Carisi, for performing here. Dream Catchers, we're going to put on the screen how to reach them. Fabulous performers. This is Mike Sobel saying good night to you, and especially to you.